very sorry, Selena, that we
Oh,
actually
yeah.
started our class late because there's a technical problem with my computer. But you don't need to worry. We can actually finish the whole course of 50 minutes.
Uh,
Okay?
because of typhoon?
Yeah, we currently have a typhoon right now, and some areas are really affected when it comes to internet. So yeah,
I
you
heard
can.
of that.
Oh, yeah, that's actually right. But anyways, thank you so much for waiting. Just like what I have mentioned earlier, we can actually finish the whole course of 50 minutes. Okay? So we can just extend our time. Okay?
Okay, okay.
Alrighty. So yeah, my name is Teacher Bell and I will be your IELTS teacher for today. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Great. So before we start, I'll just like to ask few information from you. So Selena, when is your examination date?
September 5th.
Oh, September 5. Wow. You it seems that you only have like
Nearly 10 days.
yeah, okay, you can do this. And what is your expected score?
No, maybe 6 or 6.5. I know it's difficult.
Mhm. No worries. And is this your first time to take your IELTS exam?
Um, no. I prepared. I didn't prepare much last time, and I only got 1.5.
Ah, no worries, Selena, because I can actually give you all the tips that you need in order for you to ace your target score. Okay?
Okay.
So, today we are going to have a mock IELTS exam. So, I am going to pretend as your examiner, and we will actually pretend as if we are already doing the actual IELTS speaking exam. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so hello, good day. My name is Belle and I will be your examiner for today in IELTS speaking exam. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so what is your name?
Well, my name is Selena, and my Chinese name is Ren Xinzhu.
All right, and where are you from?
I'm from Changchun, Jilin province, China.
Oh, okay. So, are you still a student or you are already working?
I'm still a student.
Okay. May I know what course you are taking?
What?
Oh, what course are you taking? You are majoring what course of study?
Oh, well, I major in computer science in my college.
Oh, that's great. All right, so today I will be asking you random questions for part 1, 2, and 3. So let's start with part number 1, okay? So
Okay.
we are going to talk about work or study. So Selena, why did you choose to study that subject?
Well, however, as a Chinese student, I didn't choose it by myself. My parents did choose the computer science for me. And they think the computer science is an advanced major, you know. Um, uh, and they want me to be a software engineer in my career. And when I entered to study the subject in this major, I found it's really interesting, and I regard to be a software engineer as my ultimate goal in my lifetime.
Okay, and is it interesting?
To be honest, maybe not, but if we work out some incomes in that time, it's really interesting.
Okay, and what subjects are you studying?
Oh well. some computer languages such as GAVA.
Okay, and do you prefer to study in the morning or in the afternoon?
Um, Actually, I didn't have a fixed time to learn it. Uh, because of the internal motivation, as long as I have any time, I will learn it. Yeah.
Okay, alrighty. And are you looking forward to work?
Mm, Frankly speaking, no, because I think my knowledge isn't enough to get a better job. You know, nowadays it's so hard to get a well-paid job. Uh, if you have no, if we don't have any shopping skills, you know.
Okay, and do you like the subject? Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, the subject, I, uh, well, the subject I learn sometimes maybe kind of boring, and however, uh, there are also some interesting interesting points.
Alrighty. Thanks a lot, Selena. Now we are going to move on to part number two. So let me just send you your task in part number two. Okay, so in part number two, you are going to describe a time that you had to change your plan or your mind. So in your answer, you should say when this happened, what made you change the plan, what the new plan was, and how you felt about the change. Okay, so I will give you 1 minute for you to prepare your answer. And
Okay.
your 1 minute starts now.
I guess I'm ready.
Alrighty. So, okay. Alright, so we only have like 2 seconds left, so I'm gonna stop it. Alright, now this time, Selena, I will give you 2 minutes for you to discuss your answer. 2 minutes starts now.
Okay. Well, in our real world, no matter how careful we are, we may sometimes catch into some accident that can make us change our plan. And let me share my plan with you. My family and I have planned to go for a vacation to Yunnan province, a beautiful province in China. However, uh, uh, just because my father and mother get a promotion and they want to celebrate it to go for a vacation and buying some special things, enjoy some time there. However, it was reported in the TV that human pros had got into a terrible weather condition. And there are lots of terrible situations in that forest. For example, the typhoon. It is dangerous to travel there. So we have to change the plan. Although we have paid for the money to the tourist company. And however, the tourist company returned money back to our family. And in order to make things not worse than that, we changed our plan. We decided to go on vacation to Hong Kong. And we make adequate plan of that. We check the weathers and in advance. We find that it is good for tourists to travel there. And we plan to eat some local foods, delicious foods, and go to the Disneyland. And there's a a large Disneyland in Hong Kong. And with the flexibility of our plan, we really have a good time during traveling to Hong Kong. Lucky After the last plan as isn't make the family satisfied, and I guess the plan the new plan makes some compulsory to that. So I think we are really lucky.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, Selena. Now let's move on to part number 3. Okay?
Okay.
So let's start. So, do old people often change plans?
Well, it really depends on the situation. As a saying goes, plan is everyone's light tower in their life. A plan will guide a person's next behavior. Despite the changing condition, ones are not willing to change their plan. And so it's just because of the accidents they get. For example, if we are going to work or some study place, and we get some a traffic jam, we have to change our plan to meet somebody else or go for work on time.
Okay, and do young people like to change plans?
Well, that's well compared with the old people. Young people truly tend to change their plans. And just because old people have some characteristic of being on time or some characteristic of more than more honest than the young people. And then I think the older people are some have some serious think serious of the in one they promise. So in some extent, young people will have more chance to change their plan. However, it really depends on the personal difference.
Mm-hmm. And what are the common reasons when people need to change plans?
However, there are some different aspects. In one aspect, may the reason may arise from the one's lazy. If we promise to meet an important person at 10 o'clock, for example, uh, we get up late in the morning, or we feel lazy to get up early, and we will change the plan and let them down. And in the other aspect, it must because of the terrible condition. Yeah, we have to radically change the plan just because we can't uh, we can't arrive, or we can't meet some person on time, because of the just because of the um, um, some issue we caused by accident. For example, traffic jam, or some terrible weather condition. We can't go out because of the weather, or something else like that.
Okay. And how would you tell your friends when you must change your plan?
Well, I have to give show my respect to him or her, and that's about uh, overall, I should show my respect to him. And next, I will show my apologies to him, for uh, I can't, uh, I can't meet him or her on time. And I will explain my reasons why uh, uh, I can't, I can't, I can't, I can't do that. And I think with my sincerely explain to him or her, he will understand my situation, and in addition to that, I will make a next appointment to him or her, and meet him or her next time, and I won't eat my promise.
Okay. And what kinds of plan are practical?
Well, it must be some accurate plan. A plan should be a plan should be planned in detail as long as one can, such as we meet at a certain place in certain times, and in addition to that, we should take some serious accident into consideration, and in that way, we will face we will get a stable appointment.
All right. Thank you so much for answering all the questions for part 1, 2, and 3. So, you did pretty well. So, good job on that. Now, we are going to discuss your performance in our session for today. Okay?
Okay.
So, the first thing that we need to discuss are your strengths in answering the questions for part 1, 2, and 3, Zelina. And basically, what I really like about your the way you answer the questions is you were able to speak naturally and very clear in such a way that I can easily understand it. So if this is going to be an actual exam, then your examiner would definitely understand every word that you are actually saying, okay? Which is very important because understanding each words that you are saying would definitely make them more understand the content of your answer. So you really did a pretty good job in that part. So that's something that I want you to maintain, okay?
Yes,
So
thank you.
you're welcome. So that is actually about the pronunciation. Uh, Second is we will be discussing about your vocabulary. So you actually use some wide range of vocabulary, although there are some words that you repeat over and over again. So that's something that we have to, minimize a little bit. Instead, we have to think of the other words that could somehow be a good replacement in that specific word. So later on, we'll discuss it further, okay? And
Yeah.
next, when it comes to grammar and lexical resource, although pronunciation, vocabulary, lexical resource, and the grammar, each of this would actually weigh equally for 25% each for your IELTS exam. But for grammar and lexical resource, it is somehow different because your examiner would look at how you actually convey the idea in a more precise manner. When it comes to grammar, did you actually use the proper tenses of the verb when you discuss this specific topic? So you have to be very, very keen, okay? You have to be very keen in checking what are those things that you will be saying in order for you to convey the message properly. So later on, I'll be citing some examples, okay?
Okay.
And
Okay.
for the lexical resource, although you have a very good idea, but somehow the content of your answer is like it's not actually going to a very straight direction because your ideas would somehow contradicting from one sentence to another. Maybe because you lack to use some connectors or some collocations in your answer. So when we say connectors, okay, speaking of which, uh, I will actually give you some example of connectors, okay? So you can actually use the following connectors. It would really help you a lot and it would really give more precision in your sentences when you use these, okay?
Okay.
I'll be sending it in your QQ in our chat box. So those are actually the example of connectors, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so later on we are going to discuss how are you going to incorporate those connectors in your answers. And it looks like that you are very straightforward in giving your answer, although there are some hesitation. So in order for us to avoid hesitation, I really suggest that you use some of these phrases to properly introduce your topic. Okay?
Okay.
Alrighty. There you go. Alrighty. So you can use those terms in order for you to properly introduce your topic. Okay? Now going back, okay. So let's dissect your answers from part 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So in part 1, we were able to talk about work or study. So originally, this is your okay, hold on. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna um, send you this one. There. So that was actually your answer here. Why did you choose to study that subject? So you've mentioned as a Chinese student, my parents chose computer science for me. They want me to be an engineer when I entered the subject to study blah blah blah. Okay. Now let's follow a certain format to answer questions in IELTS. Okay. So when I say format, okay, format to answer an IELTS questions. Okay, so you have to make sure that you have an introduction. Okay. Second is you have a body, and next is the conclusion. So when you say introduction, what is your discussion all about? Okay. Your body, what are the reasons of your discussion? And conclusion, this is your summary. Okay. So let's try
Um,
to answer this question one more time. Okay. Why did you study that subject? Okay, let's,
um,
okay, so let me give you an example. Okay, oops. So the question is, why did you study that subject? I will give you the sample answer here. So for the introduction, you can say, why did you study that subject? You can actually say, oh, may I know what is your course, by the way? What is your major?
Computer science.
Computer science. So you can actually say, I am studying, okay, or you can say, as of the moment, I am studying computer science. Okay, so that could be your introduction. Mhm. Now, for the body, you can say, as of the moment, I am studying computer science because I believe that this is a practical course, for example, practical course in which uh, could let me find a job easily because um, this is a an in-demand course. For example, this is an in-demand course. And then for your conclusion, that is why I took this course. That's why I took this course because I believe that this course, in this course, I can have a good career in the future. Okay, so this is just a sample answer that has an introduction, body, and conclusion. Okay, so let me send it to you.
Well, I got it.
Alrighty, so see, it's a simple answer, yet you were able to convey one big complete idea to hit the question, which is, why did you choose to study that subject, right? You don't really need to give a history. Why did you study that subject? Like, for example, you don't really need to say, I chose this subject to study because my parents wanted me to learn blah blah blah. So it's just you, okay? Take into consideration that the question is all about you, okay?
Okay.
So, all right. So let's try this time to answer different questions in part number one. This time, I want to see that you follow a specific format, okay?
Okay.
So let's try to answer the question number three here. What subjects are you studying?
Um, well, currently I'm studying computer science because I believe that is a pretty and in which uh,
Go
in
on!
which let me find a job easily because it's an in demand course, and that's why I took this course because I believe that this course because after learning that course I can get a well paid job.
Yeah, very good. So see, That's a lot better. See, you really need to follow a certain format in order for you not to lose your ideas. Okay?
Okay, okay.
So, see, one more. Okay, let's practice one more question in part number 1 before we move on to part number 2. Okay?
Okay, okay.
Um, Here it says here, do you prefer to study in the morning or in the afternoon? So the question is this. I'll give you a template first, okay? Because your answer here is actually I didn't have a specific time. As long as I have a
Yes.
time, I will study. So you can actually just say, um, yeah, honestly speaking, you can, give a very good introduction. Instead of you saying a lot of fillers, you can just simply say, honestly speaking, I I do not prefer, or you can say, honestly speaking, I prefer to study at any time of the day, okay?
Yeah.
Because you can give your answers there. Because there. See, you can just give reasons. Okay, there. So let's try using that phrase. How can you elaborate your answer? So, do you prefer to study in the morning or in the afternoon?
Oh, well, honestly speaking, I prefer to study any time of the day, just because I think the time of the body clock, the
Mm-hmm.
body's time clock don't affect me.
Mm-hmm.
I can learn effectively whether in the morning or the afternoon as long as I have any time.
Mm. Okay, so let's just put a little structure in that question, in that answer rather. So honestly speaking, I prefer to study at any time of the day. You can say because I believe that time is gold, right? You can give an expression because if you want to get a 6, you have to incorporate some expressions or some idiomatic expressions, which is very important because you can say because I believe that time is gold. Therefore, with my busy schedule, I have to make sure that I will strategize, okay? I will strategize on how I can study my lessons effectively in all subjects. Okay, there. Probably you can use this answer. Okay, there. Mhm. So, would you like to read it first?
Okay. Honestly speaking, I prefer to study any time of the day because I believe that time is gold. Therefore, with my busy schedule, I have to make sure that I will strate, strate, strategize
Oh, you
on
say
how
strategize.
how I can study my lessons effectively in all
Yeah. Oh, please say subjects.
subjects
Yeah, very good. And effectively.
effectively.
Yes, very well. Okay, you did pretty well. That's a great job. Okay, now, huh. Oh, this question. Okay, one more question before we move on. Are you looking forward to work?
And honestly, frankly speaking,
Mhm.
no, because just because I think my knowledge isn't enough to get a well-paid job. I'm willing to get a further study to learn more skills and knowledge. So I'm not looking forward to a job.
All right. See, that's great. So you can say, frankly speaking, I'm not looking forward to work because I think my knowledge is not enough for me to work effectively. Right?
Yeah.
So let's try to modify it a little bit. Okay. Sample answer. You can say, frankly speaking, no, because I felt that my knowledge, my knowledge, my knowledge is not enough for me to do my job effectively. Okay, that is why I am not yet confident to look for work as soon as I graduate. Okay, let me send you the sample answer, Selena.
Um,
Okay, here you go. Oh, okay.
yeah.
Alrighty. Okay, now let's discuss the part number two. So, in part number two, describe a time that you had to change your plan or you changed your mind. So, your answer is very good. It's just that there are some grammar lapses. Okay, I will actually discuss it later. But before we proceed with the discussion of your answer, I really suggest that you follow a specific way to introduce your answer in part number two. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. How? You can actually use the following phrases. You can actually say, today I want to talk about, okay? Today I want to discuss, okay, discuss about. You can also say, today I want to share a story. I want to share a story about, okay, there. So you can use this one in part number two. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
All right. Now, you've mentioned that we sometimes caught into accident that we may change our plan. So I actually like how you give a very good introduction in order for you to discuss the moment that you have changed your plan. So now I will give you a sample template, okay, on how you can answer this question in part number three. So you can actually say, today I want to share a story wherein we had changed our plan. Okay? And you can say this situation happened last. Okay? This was because you can mention the reason why reason. Okay. Okay. And then you can actually give an information about the previous plan, and you can talk the new plan. Okay, there. So I want you to take a look of this template. Okay, that one.
Um, okay, okay.
All right. Now this time, let's try to answer this question again using the new template. So I will give you 1 minute to rethink of your answer and to reorganize your thoughts. So your 1 minute starts now. Okay?
Um, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Today I want to share a story wherein we had a change our plans. This situation happened last summer vacation when, well, at that time my father and mother get a promotion and they want to celebrate for this, so we plan to go for a trip to Yunnan province. And this was uh, Yunnan province is a beautiful place in China. And however, we just planned for that. However, the news the TV news report that the Yunnan province have suffered from a terrible hurricane. Hurricane. And so it was dangerous for tourists to enjoy some times in that place. And so we have to change our plan radically. And then soonly we make some new plans to travel to another place. We plan to go to Hong Kong and enjoy some delicious local food there and have a good time in Disneyland. And in addition to that, we have we had check up the check up the weather in advance. So in that way, we make our plan more stable and have a very little chance to change it. Luckily, um, uh, luckily, the Hong Kong the plan to Hong Kong is have a good outcome.
Okay, it's okay. Continue. Okay. All right. So that is actually a lot better. So I just have one. Okay, I just have one thing here. So you mentioned earlier that, however, the news report that Yunnan province suffered from a terrible hurricane. So you can say during that time, we received a news on TV that blank province was devastated because of hurricane. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and you've mentioned that luckily the plan to Hong Kong has good outcome. So you can better say, um, fortunately, fortunately, um, our new plan, which is to go in Hong Kong work out well. Work out well. And then you can say, we really enjoyed our stay in Hong Kong. Okay, that one. There. So,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Now, let's move on to part number 3. So, you've mentioned, do all people change plans? I will actually give you a very good strategy in order to answer questions in part number 3. So, I call this strategy as a summary type of answer, wherein you are going to just um, give an answer based on the points that you want to discuss. Like, for example, your answer here for the question, do old people often change plans? You've mentioned, will it will depend in the situation. So the question here is, do old people often change plans? The answer is actually answerable by a yes or no question, right? So
Oh.
primarily, you could just simply say yes. If you think yes, they would normally change plan, give the answer afterwards. Yes, they would often change plan because blah blah blah. Or you can say definitely no. Old people do not change plans because blah blah blah. Now, let me give you how your answer would be in a bullet way, in order for you not to lose your ideas. So you can actually say, do old people often change plans? You can actually say, if you felt that no, there's no maybe, or there's no yes, or there's no maybe, there's no answer in between, just a yes or no, okay? So
Um,
it depends on you. You can say yes or no. So you can, for example, I will say yes or no. Okay, you can
yeah.
say
Yes.
absolutely, for example, absolutely yes. Okay, old people, okay, old people have the tendency to change their plans because of, for example, two primary reasons. These are, you can say first, second. All right. If your answer is no, you can also say not really. Old people do not change their plan, oftentimes for two primary reasons. So you can discuss that. So let's give it a try. So the question here is, do old people often change plans? So you can use that
Absolutely.
template.
Absolutely yes. Each person have the tendency to change their plans because of two primary reasons. There are first, the their their
Mhm.
less of their own internal motivation. For example, if a person stay up late and she or he will get up late to miss the appointment time, they they fix with the others, and then they will change their plans to meet the next time. And the second reason is that because of the uncertain external environment, such as traffic jams or terrible weather condition. Because of those unavoidable, uh, unavoidable ones, they may reluctantly change their plans and try to meet next time when when the condition is better.
All right. So see, that's a lot better. Okay, you were able to present two ideas without having a lot of confusion, right? Plus, it's actually your advantage because you were able to give reasons why you think that old people change their plans from time to time, or why is it that old people do not change their plans from time to time. right? So that's very good. I want you to be guided with those principles in IELTS exam, wherein you can strategize to make your answer uh, precise and organized in a way that your examiner will not be confused. Okay?
Okay, okay.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. We were actually able to complete um, our lesson. So here's my suggestion, Selena. There are some questions there that we haven't discussed. You can try to um, practice answering those questions using the strategy that I have given. Okay?
Okay, okay.
Alrighty. So, do you have any questions?
Yes, one small question.
Go ahead.
How do what mark do you give in my mock test?
I'm sorry. I was about to to discuss that one to you. So basically, because there are some times which is very noticeable, there are times that you would normally do some hesitation, right? So
Um,
if that is going to be the case, that is 5.5, especially in your lexical resource and your grammar, because you really need to use some connectors, just like what I have mentioned earlier, to really make an evolution of your answers in a way that you could come up with a one big great idea that you can present at the end of your speech. Okay? So
uh,
it's really okay right now, because you still have an ample time, like 10 days more to go before you can have your examination, so you can practice every day how can you connect one idea going to another. Okay.
okay, okay.
All right. So my suggestion, as soon as we are done with our class, you can try to rest a little bit and try to answer several questions in our topic. Okay.
Okay, okay.
All right then. Do you have any questions?
And no, no more.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Selena. Okay, please don't be nervous. You just need to be confident and think that you are just talking to a friend, because the moment that you think that it's going to be an exam, the more that you will feel, the more that you will really feel nervous. So please don't be nervous. Take it easy. Breathe in and breathe out. Okay?
Okay, okay.
You can do it. Okay, keep fighting. So that actually ends our lesson for today. Thanks a lot, Selena. Goodbye.
Thanks.
See
Um,
you. Oh,
see you, Danny.
all right. Bye
Danny,
bye. Oh, yes. What is it?
Danny,
Oh,
Danny
yes.
有病了。
Yes. Okay. Goodbye.
Oh, goodbye.
Mhm. So I get 62 plus 2 plus 8 plus 32. Haha. Ang galing. Times 40. 95 na. 95. 105. 125. So 135 times 130. Oh shit, tama. Sana 135. 16. Okay, okay. I trial plus 2. Hello? Hello, Zeno.
Bakit nagre-recording?
Babe!
Kala ko naman simula ako nandito. Nagkakita. Kala ko naman simula ako nandito.
Alam mo na nag-aano-ano ako eh.
Pero hindi mo ako napansin.
Ay, naman.
Ba't nagre-recording ka?
Teka, kasi pinapractice ko to. Kailangan kasi ng may recording.
Bakit daw?